Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Cover One Roundup here live each and every Monday night when we do them on the Cover One YouTube channel. My name is Kyle Silagyi. I am joined this and every week by David Fox, and today, oh boy, do we have a doozy for you. We are going to look forward into the future a couple of months. Fewer than 100 days, but it's still a couple of months away. The 2022 NFL season, David, I don't know if you knew this. The NFL, you've heard of the league, right?
Let's say that I have. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe if you talk about it, it'll jog my memory.
Well, they're doing another season.
Oh.
And the Buffalo Bills, which is the team that we talk about, they're supposed to be pretty good, right?
Do we talk about football on here?
Okay, when we're not talking about Star Wars, yeah, we're talking about the Buffalo Bills. And the fans think they're going to be good. Analysts, the talking heads tell me they're going to be good.
Bettors even think they're going to be good. I just saw something today that said that like the Bills are getting twice as many. Buffalo 6-1 odds has received over twice the money to win this year's Super Bowl than any other NFL team.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Do we see any of that? Oh, we lost our sponsorship. We we lost our vetting sponsorship. Kyle, that hoodie, it's great, isn't it? Aren't you grateful? Grateful to see the hoodie. My sister, God bless her, I love my sister, bought me this hoodie because she thought it was a Grateful Dead hoodie, which you would think, right? It's tie-dye and it says Grateful, but no, it's just something. It's some brand. But it passes as a Grateful Dead hoodie, kind of, when I block out the rest of the whatever. But yes, so the Bills 2022 season is coming up here in a couple of months. David and I are going to share with each other 4 bold predictions a piece, and then we will buy or sell each other's predictions, and then we will turn to the chat and we will ask if you guys are buying or selling the bold predictions. Did you lose a bet? Well, you could say it's a good hoodie. It's a good hoodie. It's a great hoodie, even. You know, nothing wrong with the free hoodie. Nothing wrong with a. I see y'all have swaps. Oh, I guess we have. All right, hold up. Give me 1 second.
It's not. You're right. This is more natural. Good call out. Good call out. That was right,
Jason. Okay.
Thank you, Jason.
So before we get into our bold predictions, which I will again further explain because I feel like I just kind of glossed over that because I was too busy with the hoodie talk. I'll get into that in a second. But before we do that, we have to do the Roundup. This is the segment where we break down the latest Buffalo Bills news, rumors, and other things in a Roundup fashion. So 2 things to talk about this week in the Roundup. One is a signing and the other is a retirement. And the signing that the Bills made really, to me, cements their Super Bowl ambitions. The Bills last week signed Tavon Austin. If this would have happened, if the Bills would have gotten Tavon Austin in 2013, when I think every Bills fan wanted Tavon Austin.
Many mock drafts had Tavon Austin going to the Bills. He was available at their pick, and then they traded back with the Rams. The Rams traded up to get Tavon Austin. The Bills traded back and still got the player that they wanted in EJ Manuel.
Right, and that always bodes well. That's a great show of confidence.
Nothing says we believe
I love this quarterback
than trading
back and
out of the top 10 to get that.
Nothing says you are my franchise guy like I want you on a more affordable contract. You love to see it.
To be fair, the Ravens did a similar thing when they took Lamar Jackson because they took Hayden Hurst at 25 overall, but they had to trade back into the first round to get Lamar at 32.
Right.
Meanwhile, Hayden Hurst wasn't even on the team after 2 years.
Well, I think we agree that EJ Manuel was a better bet than Lamar Jackson, right? Both very successful ACC quarterbacks, and one of them is currently repping that network on the network. So,
sure,
hey, good for them. Yeah, I'll admit that Lamar is better than EJ when I see Lamar on the ACC network. Okay, but yeah, Tavon Austin, an incredible college player, one of the most electric college highlight tapes of all time. I think Everyone agrees with that. Nyheim Hines went viral last year because he fangirled when he saw Tavon Austin on the field, which I think is how a lot of people, at least our age, like the mid-20s to late 20s, where it's just like, oh, this was a dude. Like in college,
like
he was
Tavon
the
Austin,
dude.
Devin Hester, that type of like just where everyone saw at least one game or one like highlight reel where you're just like, that is like burned into my brain forever. And for people like maybe just a little bit older than us, that's probably Michael Vick.
Yeah. David froze. Could have just froze for me. I don't know what's going on.
Tavon Austin had just an absolute.
David, you're freezing. Is this only happening to me? Chat, is David freezing for anyone else? Because if so, we're in for a great show.
This is great. This is great streaming. We're doing great.
This is great streaming. This is incredible streaming.
Love having crappy Wi-Fi. It's great.
No, he froze. Well, awesome. It's okay. We're gonna battle through. We're gonna face adversity. We're gonna battle through adversity. Okay, we're gonna do it. So this could be an interesting show.
It's gonna be great. It's great. I love having crappy Wi-Fi.
Tavon Austin, not a great football player nowadays. Good name, great story. We have great memories of prime Tavon Austin, but nowadays he played for the Jacksonville Jaguars last year, had 24 receptions for 213 yards. People are saying like he's a punt returner, but he's only returned 5 punts in the last 2 years. Like, I think ideally he's a camp body. Like maybe he comes out and surprises and wins the returner job and makes Isaiah McKenzie kind of sweat a little bit for the roster, because if he doesn't get the returner job and if Khalil Shakir has the type of camp we're thinking he's going to have, Isaiah McKenzie might be a little worried, but I don't think he has to. That's like best case scenario. I don't think he necessarily has to worry about Tavon Austin.
Yeah, I agree. Tavon Austin is fun, historically speaking, but just like, he is what he is at this point. And when your biggest asset is speed, and you are currently 31 years of age, we'll see what happens. But I'm not exactly sitting here going, "Oh yeah, you Super Bowl, here we come." But
I did do that.
You did that. I did not.
I love just saying stupid things to my friends, and then when they agree with me, I get mad that they agree with my stupid take. Like the other day, I texted my friend. I was like, Tavon Austin Super Bowl, and he was like, "Yeah, low risk, high reward." And I was like, "You idiot! Like, no, what are you talking about? He's not going to do anything. Like, this is entirely my doing." But so yeah. Speaking of, I guess, old beloved players who aren't very good anymore, Ryan Fitzpatrick retired the other day via Fred Jackson's Twitter account.
Is this the new segment? What did Ryan Fitzpatrick do this week?
It could be, because he's gonna go to Amazon. I guess he's gonna get paid.
Is he really?
That's the rumor. Is he's gonna get that Jeff Bezos money, which he'd be incredible.
I want to know. I want to see Ryan Fitzpatrick as a color commentator, because like. I'm sure he'd be great, like breaking down plays and all that. I guarantee you, the number of teams he's played for, the number of cities he's been to, the number of locker rooms he's been in, he has stories that we all need to hear. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I kind of want this now. Who recently went to Amazon? Who's doing?
I think they got. Did they get Al Michaels?
Maybe they did.
And then Kay Adams was rumored. I don't know if that's official yet either. Pat McAfee was rumored for a little bit.
Yeah, he would. I don't think he would ever really do that, right?
He has so many gigs that it's just like
Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. That's right.
Oh, Kirk Herbstreit. Okay, yeah, that's who it is.
Brian Fitzpatrick would be way better.
Yes,
way better.
Yes. He would be great. Ryan Fitzpatrick, We have like such fond memories of Ryan Fitzpatrick, though, like at the end of his tenure with Buffalo, and me especially, and I think a lot of people were just like, get this dude out of here. Like, he is not the guy, which I mean, and they got EJ Manuel, who again, second EJ Manuel reference in 5 minutes here, which it went really well for the Bills, as everybody knows EJ Manuel now on the ACC network. So he's at least parlayed it into a nice little career there. But yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick, 39 years old, again, was with the Bills from 2009 to 2012, retires as the 5th all-time leading passer in Bills history. He's already been surpassed by Josh Allen. So that tells you how productive Ryan Fitzpatrick was in his tenure here. But no, he was one of the better quarterbacks of the drought, the second best quarterback of the drought. And for my money, I count Tyrod as number 1, but he broke the drought. So. Nate Peterman broke the drought. If you think about it, if you actually think about it, the fire that the benching of Tyrod Taylor in favor of Nate Peterman, the fire that laid under the team to propel them to the playoffs. We can thank Nate Peterman for ending that drought. But yes. And then, I mean, Fitzpatrick is a Bills fan, noted Bills fan, went to the Bills playoff game in Buffalo last year. Didn't wear a shirt. It was funny. We like Ryan Fitzpatrick. Great moment. Sounds like Kyle wants EJ Manuel on the Wall of Fame. I have been saying this. I've been telling anyone who will listen about my desires to put EJ Manuel on the Wall of Fame. On an old podcast I did, the Kyle Silagyi Variety Hour, shout out. We did a whole episode where we talked about which Bills should we put on the Wall of Fame who weren't currently, or they haven't added anyone to the Wall of Fame in a long time. So it's still people who weren't on the Wall of Fame then aren't on it now. But I went to bat heavily for Marshawn Lynch. Should Marshawn Lynch be on the Wall of Fame?
No.
One good reason why not.
He was here for, 2007, 2008, 2009, beginning of 2010.
He's eligible.
And he barely played in those last 2 seasons.
Sometimes you just need to give it up for the vibes. You just need to be like, okay,
that's why you bring him in as like a pregame hype man, like they did last year. And then they lost that game, by the way.
Stole the microphone.
Yeah.
I went to the game to see Marshawn Lynch, and Fred Jackson was the one who got the crowd hyped. And it was like, you have Marshawn right there.
Just like how Fred Jackson stole his job here.
Is that not the perfect microcosm of what happened? You're right. They bring in Marshawn and Fred Jackson does the work.
Marshawn was too busy at Applebee's trying to figure out if he liked the ambiance or the decor more. And Fred Jackson was like, all right, this is mine now.
Is that the greatest video of all time? That might be the greatest.
I remember that video exists. For those that don't know, when Marshawn was a rookie in 2007, and who was it? Kenny Mayne for ESPN used to do these really weird kind of just bone dry humor videos that were just hilarious. And he did one with Marshawn Lynch. It is pure comedy gold. And it includes, I think it's Lee Evans saying that he's a fresh of breath air.
Yes. Well, the context of the video is that Willis McGahee had just talked so much trash about Buffalo on his way out the door. There's nothing to do. They just got a Dave and Buster's and the women. That's the classic Willis McGahee quote.
Right.
And then Marshawn Lynch is just I think that's taken out of context. And Kenny Mayne's he continues the quote. He's like, well, there's the context.
And now it's in context.
And he goes to Applebee's. He does go to Dave and Buster's.
That's right.
He asks, who was Beethoven?
Who was Beethoven?
And that's why you should be on the Wall of Fame.
There's nothing to do with any of that.
It's about the vibes, man. If O.J. Simpson's on the Wall of Fame,
listen, I'm not saying that O.J. Simpson should be on the Wall of Fame, but that does O.J. Simpson being on the Wall of Fame does not mean that Marshawn Lynch should also be in the Wall of Fame. Doesn't make sense. You're not convincing me of this.
Another great contender, though, for greatest Buffalo Bills video of all time. And this is a transition here into our bold predictions because my bold prediction is about this player. My first bold prediction, at least. But this video came out on the Bills TikTok today. It was of Gabriel Davis. I don't know if you saw this video.
I have not seen this yet.
Oh, it's the context of the video is there's the text to speech thing that TikTok has
Yes.
at the start of the video. And it's like, we mic'd up Gabriel Davis at this event and he didn't want to be mic'd up. So he said things that he thought would be unusable, but it's TikTok, so we don't care. So Gabriel Davis, he's just like, I think he's playing cornhole. And like, he says ridiculous things. Some of my favorites being, boy, do I need a cigarette and an ashtray. He's like, I hate these New York taxes, which, amen, brother. And then just like stupid shit, just like, if we land on the moon, and then he just looks at the camera. Y'all need to go watch this video. It's an incredibly stupid but great video of Gabriel Davis just being an idiot. And that's what my first prediction is about, is Gabriel Davis transition. We're doing bold predictions now. I will say one. David will say whether he buys or sells. Then he'll say one, and you get the idea. Okay, so my first bold prediction is that Gabriel Davis leads the Buffalo Bills in receiving touchdowns in the year of our Lord 2022. And you may be thinking, Kyle, that's wild. The Bills have so many different players who need to get the ball in their hands. They have Stephon Diggs, who led the team in touchdowns last year. They had Dawson Knox, who had 9. They have Devin Singletary, who figures to be a more permanent or prominent RB1 this year. They have Jamison Crowder, who they brought in. They have O.J. Howard now. They have James Cook. They have dudes who they need to get the ball into their hands. But hear me out. This is why I think Gabriel Davis is going to lead the team in receiving touchdowns next year. Looking at his past success here, he has been kind of a touchdown machine despite not having that many opportunities. He's in his 2 years with the Bills, he has been in the top 3 in receiving touchdowns in both years. He was second in his rookie year with 7 receiving touchdowns. Those touchdowns coming on 73% of the team's offensive snaps. That's all the snaps he played in. And then last year, he had 6 receiving touchdowns on just 48% of the team's offensive snaps, and that was third. So, like, you look at what he's been able to do in relatively limited sample sizes. I mean, 3/4 of the snaps is kind of a lot, but last year only half the snaps, and he was still third on the team in receiving touchdowns. And then you look at what his role in this offense is probably going to be this year. He is the number 2 receiver. There is no one who they're going to like really push him with or platoon him with. There's no Emmanuel Sanders this year. There's no John Brown. This is Gabriel Davis's role. And thus, I think it's only natural that we can expect an uptick in production across the board. I think you're going to see, I don't know if he's necessarily going to be a 1,000-yard receiver, because, I mean, you look at, again, the guys who they have to get the ball to, but also you look at what he's done on these snaps, on the snap count he's had before. Again, 7 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, already near the team lead in touchdowns or receiving touchdowns. And you expect that snap count to go up. You expect his target share to go up. And thus you can only expect that number of touchdowns to go up. Again, the team lead last year was 10. I think you can reasonably expect Gabe Davis to get around there, 10 or 11, and that should be good for the team lead. So, David, do you buy or sell that?
Doing a soft sell. I think that part of me wants to say Dawson Knox as touchdown leader for the season. I'm not saying it's a soft sell because I could totally see Gabe Davis being touchdown leader. Like, Stephon Diggs does not necessarily always get a bunch of touchdowns. Like, if you look at his his seasons historically, he's not like a double digit every year type of touchdown guy. But Gabe Davis does have that big body. He's got those long arms. He's been productive in the red zone his first 2 years. So it wouldn't surprise me. I still, for whatever reason, I can't say there's necessarily a good reason for it, but I feel like Dawson Knox kind of presents something different in the red zone, like a different style of mismatch that I think they'll end up taking advantage of more. So I would say soft sell for Dawson Knox, but it would not surprise me if Gabe Davis is the touchdown catching leader for the 2022 Bills.
I sold Jason. He says reasonable assumption. So.
Reasonable assumption. That's a good way of putting it. That's what we're here for at the Cover One Roundup. Reasonability and staying on topic. That's
our bull take episode. Our bull take episode. That's reasonable. But about Dawson Knox, I'm one of those people who like. I'm not like, obviously he very much progressed last season in all aspects of his game, but I do think the de-evolution of Cole Beasley, or at least the de-evolution of his usage in the offense, did kind of play a bit of a role in Dawson Knox's emergence. And then you look at Jamison Crowder coming in. Again, we're talking about touchdowns, so Dawson Knox is a much better red zone threat than Jamison Crowder is, but just you look at, I do think Jamison Crowder is going to play a bigger role in the offense this year than Cole Beasley played in the offense last year. And you look at their touchdown numbers. Cole Beasley's career high with Josh Allen was 6, and Jamison Crowder routinely gets 6 or 7 touchdowns. So I think you can expect 6 or 7 out of Jamison Crowder this year, which probably bumps Dawson Knox down from 9 a little bit.
Potentially.
Which, again, the Bills are going to score a lot this year. I do think the Bills are going to score a lot this year. Who's going to have the most catches? This is an interesting discussion.
Is it?
Is it Diggs? It's got to be Diggs.
I mean, I know who else he could throw to. We just spent the last 10 minutes discussing that, but like, come on,
he throws
him and Diggs the most. Him and Diggs, especially when like nothing is going right. Like Diggs is his dude. He's just like, all right, we need to get something going. Where's Diggs? Like, buddy, we'll figure it out. Right.
See, and that's when the Bills offense, like, it's always fun in hindsight. It's never fun when it's happening, because what makes Josh Allen exclusively look to Stephon Diggs is when the offense is struggling. So it's just like, oh geez. But in hindsight, it's like, oh, it is nice that we have this option, that the Bills have the option of like, okay, nothing's going well, just force feed Diggs a couple times.
And that really like amplifies how important it is to have a legitimate wide receiver one on your team, because you look at like let's say like the Bengals from a few years ago when they had Tyler Boyd and a rookie T. Higgins, and T. Higgins kind of struggled early on, but played pretty well down the stretch for them as a rookie. But like those two didn't get to reach their fullest abilities until they brought in Jamar Chase, who just, became that dude that, Joe Burrow after a game, I think it was the Chiefs game that they won, the first one in the regular season, where he was like, I didn't really see it, but I was just like, F it, Jamar's down there somewhere. and it worked. Like he's just that type of dude. So it's stuff like that where it's just like, when nothing is going right, you need to have somebody that can just win at all times, no matter what. And that's the benefit that a wide receiver one gives you. So most catches is going to be Stephon Diggs. I would be very surprised if it was someone else.
I love how this what if it's James Cook? What if it's James Cook?
Speaking of James Cook, my first bold prediction of the season, James Cook has over 500 receiving yards. The last Bills running back to record over 500 receiving yards. Does anyone know?
Marshawn Lynch.
Shut up, Kyle. Because when I went to look this up, it kind of surprised me. I'm not gonna lie, especially the particular season where this actually happened. If someone has a guess, I'd love to hear it. The second most after this particular season was LaShawn McCoy in like 2015 or 2016, something like that. He had like 466 yards. So it is not shady.
It's not shady.
It was not shady.
It can't be Spiller.
Definitely was not Spiller.
It can't be Fred Jackson, because that wouldn't make sense.
It was Fred Jackson in 2014 when EJ Manuel and Kyle Orton were the quarterbacks.
That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. I could not believe it. It made no sense to me at all.
That's a cursed stat.
It's insane. It's genuinely insane. It made zero sense to me at all. Kenneth Davis, there's the name.
Bill's complimentary back to Thurman Thomas. Complimentary. I remember I had to write that instead of backup running back because he was leading the charge one week while I was working for the Bills website, and I couldn't write Thurman Thomas backup running back, so it was Thurman Thomas's complimentary back. But hey, again, good buzzword. David, I am going to buy this, and then I will let you. I will let you get to your further analysis. But I'm going to buy this. I'll say that right now.
Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing what exactly the plan is for James Cook to start, because obviously this is a very crowded running back room, and it already has a veteran receiving back in Duke Johnson in it. But they liked James Cook enough to take him in the second round, and they feel like they have a legitimate idea of what to do with him outside of just like, oh, we'll throw you some, flares and screens and, check downs and whatnot. Like they were talking about him as like, we'll probably split him out at wide receiver sometimes. Which you see them do at Georgia at times with him, and it worked really because he has legitimate receiving skills. So it just sort of seems like he might be one of those pieces that doesn't get talked about until the regular season starts and everybody's like, oh, this was somebody that like really was an important part of their like planning and what they wanted to do on offense. And I think that because I just dropped something. Don't worry about it. I think because this offense was so reliant on a lot of big plays from Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and Dawson Knox and all that, I think they want to be at least a little bit more methodical in how they move the ball down the field with Ken Dorsey. That having someone like James Cook that you can sort of move around to different parts of the field in formations, or even just have him as a legitimate check down. Having an actual check down option is important because those check downs can go from having a bad option getting you negative yards or maybe 1 or 2 yards to 4 or 5 yards. And that getting those 4 or 5 yards is what keeps your offense on schedule. Something like 2nd and 8 is obviously not as good as 2nd and 5. This is not groundbreaking stuff. This is just like, these are the things that you don't always think about when you're considering just a short little pass. Like keeping your offense on schedule is how you don't get too crazy in your play calling, which is important for a first-year play caller. It's important to just sort of keep your offense in that rhythm and feel like, okay, things are going the way that they're supposed to be going. It just allows for so much more. Man, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It's good. Let's just say it's good. I'm not going to try and pretend to be smarter than I actually am. It's just good. But it's important to actually, you know what? This is a great comment. Wrinkles in the base offense. That's a good way of putting it, actually. Instead of like, you can go with what we've seen before with tons of spread stuff and wide formations and whatnot. But when you split a running back out there, suddenly, like, okay, now the defense has to really react and comprehend how to defend that and what the routes might be that are being run with this. Like actually, when Fitzpatrick retired, one of the first things I did was go back to that 2011 Patriots game where they came back from 21 down. And on that first drive, the Bills came out in 20 personnel with Fred Jackson and CJ Spiller, but they ran like shotgun and 5 wide on the first 2 plays before Fitzpatrick got intercepted, which I was like, that's super interesting. This is why I love Chan Gailey. This is why I still have warm and fuzzy feelings about Chan Gailey, because he's
something.
Weird like that.
Interesting isn't always good, David.
But look, there was something there. There was something that they saw. There was something. I mean, there was something that just really, can present something, and especially against a New England defense, which like historically, has bigger, slower linebackers, right? And obviously that's not really the case as much in today's NFL outside of New England, who still loves their bigger, slower linebackers. But a lot of teams want those lighter, faster coverage linebackers. So you also need to be able to counter that idea with an actual legitimate receiving threat that can come out of the backfield. So I really am intrigued and interested in seeing what James Cook is going to be able to do. And I think 500 receiving yards is a little bold, but I think it's possible.
Chris Miller writes, no such thing as bold prediction in sports unless you put down the money to back it up. Will never be held accountable, so hardly bold. I will put down the money right now.
You want to do it?
I'll put down the money right now, Chris Miller. Oh, I don't have any money.
Yeah. You don't have any money.
Life of podcast.
Listen.
Life of podcaster.
I've got this right here.
Hey, there you have it.
Boom.
Appreciate
$1
that.
right
and
there.
And that's on James
going
Cook.
Straight back into my wallet.
But as I said, I'm going to buy this prediction. I was going to have a James Cook prediction myself. My prediction was going to be that James Cook amasses over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. I thought he was going to get 500 through the air, 500 on the ground. It was the 500 on the ground that ultimately gave me some pause.
Yeah.
Just because with James Cook, I don't think Devin Singletary is going to be used as much as a receiving back, and thus he's going to be, I think, getting the majority of the carries on the ground. He had 800 yards last year. I'm expecting like 900, maybe push 1,000. I mean, that might be a bold prediction in and of itself for Devin Singletary, but I do think James Cook, I think like people keep pointing to their usage of rookies in the past as to like evidence that they're going to try to slowly integrate the rookies in general this year, especially James Cook. And it's like, I don't know. I think James Cook is too talented of a player to keep off the field. And given how badly they coveted the role in the offseason, going after J.D. McKissick and then getting Duke Johnson as an insurance policy and then picking the receiving back, the guy who fits the same role in the second round, I think that the role that James Cook is going to play figures into this Ken Dorsey offense in quite a significant way. So I expect James Cook to get some playing time straight away here. And yeah, I think 500 receiving yards is a very doable and believable expectation there. So chat, buy or sell. Sorry, now I'm looking through the comments. Somebody was pitching an idea to do a panel all-time 53-man roster. We're always looking for show ideas, so
sure.
Tune in next week for the all-time 53-man roster. Josh Allen might start, to be honest.
He will start.
Over Ryan Fitzpatrick? Over EJ Manuel?
Controversial, I know.
We're going to move on here to my second bold prediction. This is a prediction. Again, Chris Miller was his name, right? Chris Miller, you might not like this because I don't have any money to back it up, but this is one that I've kind of been alluding to quite a bit in weeks past, and that is I think people are massively sleeping on the offseason edition of Shaq Lawson. And I think Shaq Lawson, as of right now, is penciled in as the team's third defensive end. I've seen some people talk about Shaq Lawson as just like this under the radar roster addition, might not make the roster. He's going to be pushing for a spot. And it's like, I think his spot is pretty cemented. I don't think we truly appreciated how impactful Shaq Lawson was in his time here. Shaq Lawson was like a very under the radar, very solid contributor under Sean McDermott, in Sean McDermott's scheme, especially 2019. He was one of the team's best run defenders. He was first among all defensive linemen on the Bills that year in run stops with, I wrote it down, with 16. That's a lot of run stops. Again, most among all defensive ends. And the thing about Shaq Lawson is I feel like people maybe around the NFL, maybe in Buffalo to an extent, are kind of down on Shaq Lawson after these last 2 seasons. But he wasn't bad. He was Shaq Lawson. Like the issue is that Buffalo fans knew what Shaq Lawson was, knew what Shaq Lawson had developed into. And by the time that he was in his 4th year here, he was a very solid run defender, a good run defender with pass rushing upside. Just so happened that he flashed the most pass rush upside in that contract year, which players often do. But he got 6.5 sacks, 6 sacks in 2019. Yeah. So Miami,
that was the thing, right? Is like the Bills knew exactly what Shaq Lawson was, and they were going to pay him 3 years, $30 million. It was like, all right, cool, good for you. But
exactly,
see ya.
Right.
And so then Miami was like, oh God, what did we do here?
Right. And Miami paid him like he's a consistent pass rusher, which he isn't.
He's not.
And you look at what he's done the last 2 years, he's graded as a better run defender the last 2 years in 2020 in Miami than 2021 in New York, than he graded as a run defender in 2019. So he might be a better run defender now than he was when he left. And he was already a very good run defender when he left. He's kind of regressed as a pass rusher since then. But again, we're not expecting Shaq Lawson to come in here and be this elite pass rusher, which I feel like is why Miami was upset with him and why the Jets were upset with him to an extent, because they were expecting this pass rusher coming in, this guy with pass rushing upside, 7 or 8 and 9 sacks. Whereas he comes into Buffalo now and it's like, oh no, we know who you are. You're Shaq Lawson. You're going to set the edge and you're going to let other dudes eat, theoretically. And with that being said, you look at the snap count, and in 2019, he played on 49% of the team's defensive snaps. He was one of the primary rotational defenders on a defensive line, if not the primary rotational defender. He was one of the prime rotational defenders on a defensive line that rotates dudes a lot. And you look at the guys who are going to be pushing him for playing time this year for snaps. You have Carlos Boogie Basham, who's kind of getting the offseason rub right now, but he played on 18% of the snaps last year. And then you have AJ Epinesa, who played on 27% of the snaps in 2020 and 30% in 2021. AJ Epinesa, kind of here and there will show a flash of brilliance, or I wouldn't even say brilliance, but he'll show a flash, but nothing really consistent. And then you have Boogie Basham, who, again, despite what the offseason people are telling you, I will see what Carlos Basham comes in and does. But I do think,
Kyle, we will have to interrupt you because we have a super chat.
Shout out to Lettuce.
Your boy Lettuce.
Thank you so much.
Matt Ariza will have 12 more yards on his net average than he has total punts. This is so specific and niche, and I love it so much. 12 more yards on his net average than he has total punts. So hold on, let's look at Matt Hawk last year. Okay,
Jesus.
So hold on, let's bring it up. Where's Pro Football Reference? Matt Hawk.
Chat. In the meantime, buy or sell. Lawson is the defensive end 3.
All right, let's see. Total punt yardage, large punt blocks, average value, yards per punt. Okay, so his average yards per punt, which is not his net average, but his average yards per punt were 44.5 for Matt Hawk, and he had 83 punts. That's a bold prediction to make. I'm just gonna throw that out right there. And this is bold predictions.
52. This is bold predictions, and he put the money to back it up. Average 52, total 40 punts. I like the prediction.
40 punts over a 17-game regular season, right? 40 divided by 17. This is why we all have calculators on our phones now. 2.35 punts per game. I'm not saying that that's basically impossible, but if the Bills only punt 40 times this season, they might absolutely obliterate the offensive records of every NFL team that should ever exist.
That's what the betting markets are suggesting.
I mean, we would be talking. I mean, Ken Dorsey would be hired in the middle of the season, I think. Like that's what we're talking about here. Like,
right, just insanity.
Let's look up some of these like historically great offense. So like what, the 2018 Chiefs, right? That was Mahomes' first year starting.
Yep.
Let's see, 2018 Chiefs. Pro Football. This is great. This is great podcast.
This is
looking up stats.
Looking up. Transitioning from Matt Ariza talk to 2018 Chiefs. This is what you've come to expect.
Okay, all right. Dustin Colquitt punted 45 times.
Oh, well, okay.
Season. And for an average yards per punt of 44.9.
And Matt Ariza, he's punt god.
He is punt god. He is, in fact, punt god. That is what they call him. But he doesn't want you to call him that.
Too bad. I've said that before. Simply too bad. But no, I like the prediction. I buy that. I'm selling on Lawson. Thank you. I appreciate that, Jason. I'm selling on Lawson just to get the show back on track. Just to finish my thoughts here on Shaq Lawson. I have not seen enough from AJ Epinesa in these 2 years or Boogie Basham last year to say that they are sick or like definitely better than Shaq Lawson. And they will supplant him in playing time. Is it possible? Yes, they could come out in training camp and kind of take that next step. But I just don't want to bank on it. I don't want to bank on AJ Epinesa making a 3-year leap or a year 3 leap based off of what I've seen from him. Boogie Basham, I think, is a bit more believable. But I think if I had to guess, you're going to see Von Miller and Greg Rousseau be that 1-2. And then you're going to see Shaq be 3. And then maybe they rotate Epinesa and Basham. And if they don't, then just one of them plays. If Epinesa takes the spot, then Basham is the tweener. If not, then it's just Basham. But that is my that's my bold take. So, David, buy or sell my Shaq Lawson take?
I think I'm gonna buy.
That's what I love to hear.
I think you presented a good case. Not gonna lie.
Reasonable.
I think that yeah, Shaq Lawson, he played his best when he was in this system. He's still a really good run defender, like you pointed out. Arguably a better run defender than when he was here, when he was pretty good. You pair that with Von Miller, Greg Rousseau, and having an actual nose tackle and Daquan Jones at Oliver, of course. I mean, I think like for him to be like solidly defensive end 3, or edge 3 rather. I think that's fair. I think it's a good take. I would love to see the Boogie Basham hype come to fruition. I don't know if that will actually happen. And like you said, Shaq Lawson is a known commodity. You know what you're going to get with him. I think that's probably what is going to push him to be that edge 3. For the record, highest punt average in NFL history, Shane Leckler, 47.6. So a 50-something yard average is, although that is for punt career, not for single season. Hold on, now we gotta do something else.
But have we ever? Are we talking about a normal? We're not talking about a normal human being here, David. We're talking about a god of punting.
Okay, who do you think has the highest single season average for punts?
Like if I sat here and pretended to know, I have no idea.
It's so number 4 is Corey Bojorquez in 2020.
Oh hell yeah,
50.8. Andy Lee in 2011 for the 49ers, 50.9. Shane Leckler is number 2, 51.1 in 2009. And Sammy Baugh it had 51.4 in 1940. In the middle of World War II, my man slinging Sammy ball. This dude was dropping bombs on the field.
Oh, geez. You're lucky you didn't say that in 1940. Would have gotten canceled. You would have had enough of your shit.
We didn't have enough cans for me to get canceled.
Nick G writes, I can take Lawson as your 5th option. Can't do it. Gotta be 3. Gotta be 3.
Presume that Boogie and Epinesa are both like taking big leaps forward.
I want someone to come on. I am challenging someone to enter StreamYard right now. Whoever, again, nobody has access. Nobody who's watching has access.
We're not giving you the link, folks.
But if you do, find a way in here and tell me with a straight face that AJ Epinesa is better than Shaq Lawson. You can't. You won't. And that's maybe why I posed the challenge, because nobody can do it. But
that's all right.
Okay, David, what's your next bold prediction?
My next bold prediction, and this actually might be my boldest prediction on here. The Bills' offensive line will have multiple Pro Bowl selections in 2022.
Okay. Who is making the Pro Bowl?
Well, so first of all, at this point, it kind of feels like Deion Dawkins is one of those guys who's going to get Pro Bowl votes just purely because of his name and attachment to a successful team. I think it is possible for, like, I don't know who Mitch Morse's agent is. He got him a great contract, highest paid center at the time when he came to Buffalo. That dude's got to start taking some money and paying some media people to talk about him. Like, just get some guys out there, like some like Dan Orlovsky, Mina Kimes, Brandon Thorne, like some of these dudes just be like, hey, this Mitch Morse guy is like really good. And like everybody's gonna be like, oh, Mitch Morse, this guy's really good. Oh, we should vote for him in the Pro Bowl. I saw this guy. I saw him. He said he was good once. He said he was good this year. He said he was good. That's really all it takes. And then, like, honestly, like, I could see Spencer Brown being a Pro Bowl selection if he makes the leap that I think he can take with Aaron Cromer. Oh, absolutely. And like, listen, that's part of it. That's part of it. Reputation is a part of this. Being popular is part of this. Like, Spencer Brown already has a good reputation amongst us Bills fans, obviously, for being just absolutely as insane as the rest of us. But like, if he just has those highlights where he's just burying people on zone runs, I guarantee you some people are going to put him in the Pro Bowl.
Good points coming up in chat here. The Dawkins was the guy who just gets names on or votes on name alone. Yep. Same with Saffold and Rick Bates. I was going to sell. Now I'm still going to tentatively sell. Though I agree that Deion Dawkins will get in just because he's Deion Dawkins, and at this point he's in the rotation. Same with Tremaine Edmunds. He's just in the rotation at this point. I just can't see. But then with Aaron Cromer, that's a lot. You said 3 Pro Bowlers or multiple?
I said multiple.
Okay,
it could
so
be 2. It could be 3. It could be 4. It could be all 5. Bills Pro Bowl to Bills O-line to the Pro Bowl.
Let's start the hype train. Just get them in now. I'll buy. You know what? Screw it. I'll buy. I'll say. I'll say like a Roger Saffold or someone gets in. Yeah. I think I can get on board with that. Spencer Brown, not so much, but Rick Bates. I love the Rick Bates hype. I love Rick Bates to Pro Bowl hype. Right, 3 starts or whatever, and now he's gonna be at the Pro Bowl the next year. Bobby Hart. Bobby Hart's a good shout for something. Yeah.
Oh, God.
All right. I think we're going to move on here to the defense for my third bold prediction. The fans aren't going to like this one, but I'm going to say it anyway. My third bold prediction is that Tremaine Edmunds silences at least a few critics this year. people who watch this Andre Smith won't make it. That one got me. That really got me. All right, especially with him being out for 6 games or however long he's out. Yeah, that's I mean, if he were going to play
very, very quickly, like, what are you doing? Where you are a career special teams dude, and you're taking PEDs.
He said nothing, but
he said not a thing. He didn't try to appeal it. He didn't do anything. He was like, "Yep." Like, if you don't appeal it,
he tweeted that he didn't do it. He didn't take the
tweeted that he didn't do it.
Yeah. I didn't do it. He's Bart Simpson. He's the I didn't do it kid. But
if the needle don't fit, you must acquit.
Jim, that's a great point. Like, had he had to play, had he played those first 6 weeks, he was a real lock for the Pro Bowl, but that kind of complicates things a lot. Tremaine Edmunds, I'm saying is going to make no, that's not my prediction. My prediction is that he silences a few critics this year. My take on Tremaine Edmunds has long been that the truth lies somewhere in the middle of Bill's Twitter. There are some people who think that he's this really, or just NFL Twitter in general. There are a lot of people who think he's this really good, really stout middle linebacker who it doesn't deserve the hate he gets and is this, really good, really young, promising linebacker. And then there are other people who think that, the Bills should replace him this year. Maybe should have drafted a guy on day 2 to push Tremaine Edmunds immediately. And it's like, no, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. He's not as good as some people say he is. He's certainly not as bad as a lot of people say he is. But you look at the circumstances going into this season. We said it earlier about Shaq Lawson in 2019. Players just typically perform better in contract years. Tremaine Edmunds is entering the final year of his contract. I do believe, right? This is his 5th year. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Got to be his 5th year. So he's going into the 5th year option of his contract, knowing that he is potentially, especially given the Bills' salary cap situation, Tremaine Edmunds has the opportunity to hit the free agency market at the end of this season and cash in big time if he has a big season. And you look at what the Bills have done in front of Tremaine Edmunds for this season, bringing in Von Miller, just the defensive line as a whole, kind of not necessarily overhauling the defensive line, but bringing in reinforcements that should help the linebackers, not just Tremaine Edmunds, but the linebacker group in general, with Von Miller, with Daquan Jones, with Jordan Phillips. These guys should be able to, 1, clear lanes for Edmunds, should he be a blitzer, or 2, more often, pressure the quarterback to make, or, get more pressure to make the quarterback kind of makes these ill-advised throws, and Tremaine Edmunds, with that wingspan, with that ranginess that he has over the middle of the field, maybe put him in more positions to make plays. So I just think, given all of these circumstances, given the, again, contract year plus the defensive line is kind of in a better position to help the linebackers this year, especially Tremaine Edmunds, I think he is going to take a big, maybe not a big leap, but a leap this year. And you're not going to see a lot of people on Bill's Twitter talking about him being a bad player. You're going to see people talking about him, maybe the Bills not being able to re-sign him. But I do think that Tremaine Edmunds, the hate kind of stops this year. That's my bold prediction.
And
your boy Lettuce,
super chat. Your boy Lettuce paying for my trip to Disney tomorrow. Appreciate you. Love. Edmunds is a starting middle linebacker. He has made sure his job was hard. We hadn't had a good 2-tech in front of him to keep him clean. Daquan might be that guy. I'm a big believer in Daquan Jones and what he will end up bringing to this defense. I think we started to see some of that last year when Star Lotulelei was playing in September, and then he got COVID and just really just wasn't available after that, and really wasn't the same player. So yeah, I'm very into seeing what Tremaine Edmunds will bring, and to be perfectly honest, I will buy this take. I will buy this because I think regardless, like, this is the year. This is the kind of true put up or shut up year for Tremaine Edmunds. It's like, if you can't do it now, I don't know where you're gonna go that's gonna allow you to do it anywhere else. And to be clear,
the answer is Jacksonville. He's going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar. I am telling you right now, despite drafting Devin Lloyd and who else did they draft?
Chad Muma.
Yep. Tremaine Edmunds, future Jacksonville Jaguar.
Yikes. Look, the Bills' defense and how it's structured does ask a lot of its linebackers and its second-level defenders. It asks a lot of Tremaine. It asks a lot of Milano. It asks a lot of Taron Johnson, especially in run defense. That being said, having an actual nose tackle that can do that two-gapping that they should be doing, I think that's going to allow Tremaine Edmunds to flow better, to just attack and not think as much. And I think that's what's really important for second level defenders, is to just see and go. I think that he can do that. So yeah, I'm gonna buy this.
Love to see it. And again, he's gonna cash in with the Jaguars. No, because they're not gonna have any cap space after they cut Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But yes, Tremaine Edmunds. No more Tremaine Edmunds hate. It stops here. I put an end to it. David, we stopped Tremaine Edmunds hate.
We are the world. We are the children who stopped the Tremaine Edmunds hate.
We did it. And this would have been a great place to end it. We're an hour deep,
and
that would have been a great wrap-up. But no, we still got a lot more to go. So
we still got a ways to go.
What's your next prediction?
So on the topic of linebackers, Tyrell Bernard, controversial third-round pick, is going to make at least 3 starts at linebacker this season. So I don't know if this really qualifies as a bold take,
right? Yeah.
Because the impetus of this is really more based on like Matt Milano's probably going to get hurt,
right? Yeah, or they'll start 3 games in base 4-3, and Bernard's out there, and they put Taron Johnson back out.
Right. Yeah. It's just like, I guess the main point I'm trying to get to is just that he will have a bigger impact than we are expecting in year 1. He is a very light linebacker, really kind of in the mold of Matt Milano. So I think that if he shows enough in training camp where it's like, he might just be one of those guys where it's like, we got to find a way to get him on the field somehow, some way. Like, we got to get this guy on the field. I think it'll be interesting. And McDermott has talked about his connection with Dave Aranda, who is Baylor's head coach. That's where Tyrell Bernard played. He said that, when Aranda says something about a player, he listens. For a point of reference, in 2017, when the Bills took Tre'Davious White, the defensive coordinator at LSU was Dave Aranda. And Trey White was somebody that I think a lot of people liked at the time, but kind of felt like, he'll be solid, not like top tier NFL corner lockdown type of guy. And that's what he was from like day one, really. So, Bernard might end up being one of those hidden gems, even though none of us really knew who he was before he got drafted. And, but it'll be interesting. I think that Bernard's skill set and abilities are interesting enough to where he might just push himself onto the field at some point. And that's sort of the overall impetus. But I want to put like actual stats or something tangible behind it. So I went with 3 starts in 2022 on defense.
I will buy 3 starts just because I like the bet of Matt Milano's hamstrings giving out on him again. I think that's a safe bet at this point. You can expect Milano's hamstrings will not last a full season. But he typically only misses 1 game. So
right. Like Milano is injury prone in that he will get something wrong with his hamstring at some point in the season. Yes. But like it's usually a week, maybe 2.
But it's always never a bad week. It's always Chiefs.
Right. it's always, some game where it's like, oh my God, did it have to be this week?
So Bernard will start against the Chiefs by default. And then
have He'll have 2 pick sixes of
Right. What sucks about this is we know we're right. We'll come back and watch this in months from now, and everything we have said on June 6th will be 100% accurate.
That's right.
Bernard will start against the Chiefs because Matt Milano has an injured hamstring. And then, I do think I could see them doing, at least 2 other starts in 4-3 base defense with Bernard on the field because who else is there? Who is pushing Bernard for that third linebacker spot?
I mean, Tyrell Dodson.
T-Dot. I saw T-Dot the other day, just out and about.
What
I feel like I just said this. Well, that sounds creepy, so I'm not going to say it. But he lives in the same apartment building as my friend, so I was going to trivia, and T-Dot was walking out. But so what was I going to say? I got so caught up on T-Dot talk. That's what the name of this podcast should be, T-Dot talk. But no, I will buy that he makes 3 starts, but I don't know if I'll buy that he's more impactful than we think, because I think I don't know. I just stuttered over all of my words there. It is a wait and see. It is a wait and see what he does in training camp. And again, maybe that's one of the issues with doing this episode in June. But I think I don't see how he gets on the field. I don't see who he pushes off. Is he pushing Taron Johnson off the field? Is he pushing Matt Milano off the field?
We go base 4-3 against Miami because it's not like we have to worry about Tua after 15 yards. Fire. Absolute fire take. I love you, boy, Lettuce. Great take tonight. Love it.
Tyrell Bernard. Good name. It's a good name. And maybe that results.
Maybe that's enough.
Maybe that's enough. Sometimes it is enough, man. Little Jordan Humphrey still bouncing around the NFL. All right. We're gonna go to my next prediction here. And this is the boldest one. This is one that, as Chris alluded to earlier, I could put some money behind, and a lot of people have put money behind it. Josh Allen wins MVP. People like to talk about Josh Allen. He still has doubters, which I know is ridiculous at this point, but he still has doubters. And people like to say, like, oh, he only got good when, he got Stephon Diggs, or look at his weapons, things like that. And that's why he's so good. And it's like, okay, even if we are subscribing to that, even if we are ignoring the fact that he is 6'5", can run past dudes, run over dudes, jump over dudes, has a cannon for an arm, is just an insane athlete at quarterback, maybe the most athletic person, probably the most athletic person currently at quarterback, arguably, I wouldn't say the most athletic ever, but up there in terms of being a unique athlete. He is one of the most unique athletes to ever play quarterback. I'll say that. So just, even if you want to ignore that entirely, that he is a demigod at the quarterback position, and you do just want to look at his weapons, this is probably the best core of weapons he's had.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, Jamison Crowder, who is, if anything, a slight downgrade from Cole Beasley. So I'll give you that. But like from 2020, whatever, or 2021 Cole Beasley, whatever. Jamison Crowder's probably an upgrade over 2021 Cole Beasley, who was hurt all year, but whatever. Dawson Knox, O.J. Howard, who else? Devin Singletary, James Cook. He has a litany of weapons that he can choose from. Plus, he can get it going on the ground. And again, Aaron Cromer with the offensive line kind of maybe theoretically opening up more running lanes. Maybe Josh Allen is even more productive on the ground. I think we are looking at an insane situation for Josh Allen to succeed here. The only thing that kind of gives me a bit of pause is Ken Dorsey, just because it is a question mark. We've never seen him call plays before, but I can kind of still get behind the idea of Josh Allen winning MVP because Ken Dorsey has been around Josh Allen for 3 years. He has helped Josh Allen develop into this player 4 years. He's helped Josh Allen develop into the player that he currently is. He knows his strengths. He knows his weaknesses. And I trust that Ken Dorsey has learned enough from Brian Daboll in these past 4 years that he's going to be able to put together a competent offense with Josh Allen at the helm. So, David, buy or sell?
I'm going to buy. Because I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of guys that could be MVP, whether it's Allen, Mahomes, Rodgers. I mean, if Rodgers wins 3 in a row, that's insane. Burrow even could be up there. Herbert. Like, there's guys in the conversation. But, I mean, I don't know if anybody is going to have the same type of season that Josh Allen is getting ready to have. And that, like you said, Ken Dorsey is the big question mark here because this will be the first time he's the guy in charge. And it might be a challenge, but man, when you've got someone like Josh Allen at quarterback, it is hard to screw up. It just is. Like it's going to be real difficult for me to believe that he is not at the very least in contention through most of the season. And there's a whole season to play. We're several months away, but man, it's you could be looking at a great season for Josh Allen, an MVP season.
Right. And even if you're worried about like worst case scenario when Ken Dorsey is an incompetent play caller, right? And like he can't string together whatever, which isn't going to happen. But like worst case scenario, that's what happens. We've seen what Josh Allen does when plays break down. When he plays outside structure, he's maybe better. So like, I was going to say, maybe we want Ken Dorsey to be bad. Maybe that's what we want. But no, we don't want that. But no, I do think the situation that Josh Allen is currently in is insane, he is well positioned. And I think I've said this on past podcasts, but just the NFL making Josh Allen open the season in Los Angeles to watch that banner raising ceremony, to watch the Los Angeles Rams raise the Super Bowl banner that should have been his. I think that he's going to go for 500 total yards that game. 5 touchdowns, 500 yards. It's going to be that's going to set him off.
I have a question. So Josh Allen is from California. Is this the first time in his NFL career he's going to be playing in California?
They haven't played. They were going to play in San Francisco one year, but it was in Arizona.
Right. They played in Las Vegas in 2020.
They haven't played the Chargers.
This might be
they
the
played
first
the Chargers
game.
At home in 2018.
Yeah. This might be the first game he has played in California.
I think so. It was Rams at home in 2020.
Yep.
How many California teams are there? 3?
There's the Niners, the Rams, and the Chargers.
I think this is his first. Yeah, the season opener is going to be his first California game, I think.
I think a little underrated storyline that I'm sure will pick up momentum as we get closer to opening week is going to be that. His sort of this will be his first
pseudo
homecoming for Josh Allen from Fireball, California. Yeah, I think that that in itself could be pretty darn good. Not gonna lie.
Right, that's enough. Plus,
yeah.
This is off topic, but did you see Aaron Donald's contract that he got today?
Yes, I did. And he earned every bit of it, as he always does.
Oh, for sure. Remember an hour ago at this point when I said that I got mad at myself because I texted my friend and I said Tavon Austin Super Bowl, and he said, low risk, high reward. And I was like, no, wrong. But during the Super Bowl, I texted him and I called Aaron Donald the most impactful player in the NFL potentially. And he disagreed. And I was like, how?
He sounds like an idiot. So what do you want?
I'll get him on the pod. I'll get him on the pod. He's got some really good takes.
I'm sure he does.
David, what's your last prediction?
All right. Last prediction. This is going to start cold and then it's going to get hot. All right. It's like icy hot. All right.
Is that what that does?
Von Miller. I have no idea. I just kind of sounded good.
The name, that's that.
Von Miller will lead the team in sacks. Ed Oliver will lead the team in tackles for loss, and he will be second in sacks.
I like it. I buy that. again, I was going to have an Ed Oliver prediction. My prediction was going to be he makes the Pro Bowl and pushes double-digit sacks. I don't know if he gets to 10 because that's kind of like elite of the elite category. And Ed Oliver, he's knocking on the door there, but I don't know if he's there yet. But again, we talked about how the defensive line additions are going to help. Sorry, I'm kind of stealing your analysis here, but we talked about how the defensive line additions are going to impact Tremaine Edmunds. They're really going to impact Ed Oliver as well. You know, Von Miller potentially getting double teams, Daquan Jones there to eat up blocks. I think Ed Oliver, and again, he was so close last year. It should have had a lot more sacks last year than he did. You know, finally the production started coming at the end of the year, but he was consistently impactful throughout the entire season. Just the stats weren't there. But I think if you get a season, again, he's in a position where the stats could start to add up. Yes, very easily could be second on the team in stats. Or in stats.
I keep thinking about how many times he was that close to a sack or just like a massive play, and just like this dude's got more around him now. I mean, we talk about supporting cast, he's got more around him now than he's ever had, and the dude is just so freaking good. It is going to be very difficult to stop Ed Oliver in the year 2022, in my opinion. I think he is just gonna blow his way onto the scene in a major way. And it's going to make the person who wrote that the Bills shouldn't pick up his fifth-year option look like a freaking fool, which he already did, let's be honest.
Even at the time, it was like, what are you... What? I love people who don't watch football. I love
NFL.com articles just for that, because it's so clear how little football these guys are able to watch.
Right. And again, there's only so many hours in a day, but just, I don't know, as someone who has at times had to write authoritatively on things I don't know a lot about, I feel bad doing it.
Right?
Yeah, that's college. That's high school to an extent. But it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good at all. So how you can publish an article saying Ed Oliver hasn't lived up to expectations, I don't know. Will Oliver outperform Aaron Donald this season? No, but I think he's still going to be really good. I mean, Aaron Donald's just maybe the greatest defensive player in not in the history of the NFL, but at least of my era.
He might be.
You can make the argument. Right, yeah, no, he's certainly the best player of my watching era, defensively. Maybe just in general, but yes, I don't think Ed Oliver's necessarily getting to that level this season. I don't think anyone's getting to that level, but Ed Oliver is going to be productive. David, I'm proud of us because neither of us took the easy prediction of the Buffalo Bills win the Super Bowl. I took the next easy one with Josh Allen wins MVP.
Well, we said bold predictions.
Right.
We said not like almost certainties.
Right, yeah. Like, they're just the best team. I just had a conversation at a bar last week about this. Just like I was with my my one friend, and we were just talking to this random dude who we met.
Your one friend.
I only have one friend.
That's fair. I have zero.
I only have one friend, and then I have a couple of acquaintances. But I was talking to my friend, and he was like, I don't like all this offseason hype. I don't like all the all the love that the Bills are getting nationally." And I was just like, "But they're just the best team. That's just what it is. Like, there's no other way to put it. Like, anyone who says otherwise, it's like, oh, that's kind of a stretch. You look at the Bills roster, you look at the depth, you look at the stars. I mean, there's no team that objectively has a better roster than the Bills, and there are a lot of teams that the Bills objectively have a better roster than.
Yeah, I mean, people who say that are just very scarred, understandably so, from the previous 20 years where nothing good happened and everything was sort of snatched away from us in utterly disappointing fashion and heart-wrenching ways. But I mean, we talked about EJ Manuel and Ryan Fitzpatrick on this show already. That's what the Bills were. There was just a collection of bad quarterbacks that couldn't do anything, and maybe they flashed here and there. I mean, we all remember EJ Manuel's big comeback against the Panthers.
Far too much EJ Manuel talk this week.
Which, by the way, that final drive was mostly Fred Jackson checkdowns and an interception that got taken off the board that led to a pick play for a touchdown. That was EJ Manuel's greatest moment.
I love how this is just shit on my friend hour. Sounds like Kyle's friend might think Houston is the team that will be scary good this season.
You need to ask him about this now.
I will. He might argue it. He likes bad players.
Who among us?
Right. No. in our fantasy league, in our keeper league, he traded for. He's a big Oklahoma fan. So he traded for Marquise Brown and kept him as one of his 3 keepers because he thinks Marquise Brown's going to go crazy with Kyler Murray. And I was like, okay. It's not crazy, but he got rid of DK Metcalf to make the move. So he's a character. He's a dude. All right. So before we get out of here, we're done with bold predictions. Your boy Lettuce writes, your predictions were mild, to be fair. Your boy Lettuce, did you not hear my Shaq Lawson is the Bills' 3rd defensive end take? I mean, that's one of the boldest takes you're going to get in Bills land this year. I do believe. But yeah, I think that wraps up bold takes. David, we're 3 episodes deep on Obi-Wan.
Yes, we are.
How are you feeling about Obi-Wan?
I love Obi-Wan Kenobi, the show. It is absolutely fantastic. It is not what I expected, which is like always for me is always nice because I'm very very tired of predictability in the things that I watch, especially like big Hollywood productions and like Marvel and even Star Wars to an extent. It's just like a lot of predictability, I think. Whereas Obi-Wan, I mean, we were all for those that have not seen Obi-Wan Kenobi and don't want to be spoiled. First of all, it's been 2 weeks. Watch some of these episodes, you jagweeds. And this is your warning, and it's going to be your only warning. So deal with it. So a lot of us, understandably so, based on the trailers and just sort of what we know about Obi-Wan and his time in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, we were expecting a story about Obi-Wan protecting Luke. Very quickly, we realized it was not going to be about that. It's going to be about protecting Leia, which was great. I mean, first of all, getting to see Alderaan asteroid,
right?
Alderaan, pre blown up Alderaan is really great. And I love that they brought back the 2 actors that played her parents. Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa is always awesome, and I will die for Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa. He had so little screen time in 2 episodes in the prequels. He was in Attack of the Clones. He was in Revenge of the Sith. He's on screen and doesn't have that much dialogue, but man, he owns every scene he's in. He's just so freaking good. And the person that plays her mother, Briha, is awesome. And just, little Leia is just so perfect and cute. Is she the best actor? Not really, but who cares? Like,
I think she's incredible.
I think she's fine. Like, I don't think she's bad, but like she's 10 years old and it kind of shows. Like, that's fine. That's fine. Like, I don't care.
She's a child actress.
Right. Like, who cares? Like, she plays the role that she needs to do well enough. And she also looks cute, which is really all that matters when you're 10 years old and portraying young Leia Organa. Be a little sassy and be cute. That's it.
I just keep thinking back to the truck scene from episode 3.
Yes.
Where she's holding her own with Ewan McGregor in the when they're talking to the clone troopers. I was like, that's clone troopers. My Star Wars lingo is not great, but you know what I'm talking about. Stormtroopers.
Yes.
I just watched the prequels. Give me a break. But
Hey,
no, like I think it's great. Some of the critiques I've seen aren't good enough. Sorry, just not good enough. Like I saw people being very mad. People who are just coming in now, they're so confused. Like this,
and probably a little upset. If you're coming in now expecting football talk, rewind about an hour.
Right? Yeah, that was the whole last hour.
You'll be good. You'll be good.
Now we're in Obi-Wan talk. But no, like I saw some people talk about like the Vader versus Obi-Wan scene, which I thought was great, right?
Yeah.
Vader coming out and just kicking his ass, and Obi-Wan, who hasn't used the Force in 10 years, just getting his ass kicked, which is to be expected.
And part of that, right, is like people were upset, like, oh, he like sees Vader and then he runs away. It's like, yeah, because he doesn't want
he's seeing a ghost.
Right. Like this is the thing that like this was his brother that he thought was dead. And now he sees him and he's like, Kyle, we don't need to get like too deep into our own personal lives, but have you ever been in a situation where you're just like, nope, I am not dealing with that right now?
All the time.
I don't want to accept this. I don't want to accept this reality. This is not real. And if I walk away, I can pretend it's not real.
Yeah. And I saw some people say like, oh, it was anticlimactic. It's like, it was episode 3. Like there's going to be another fight.
The confrontation between these two is not meant to be epic and climactic. That's not the point of it. And if it was, it would take away from what we see in episode 3 and from what we see in episode 4.
Yes.
And that's the point. Like what are we doing here? Understand what you're watching. I swear to God, like literacy in literature is astoundingly lacking when it comes to this sort of stuff. Like, take an AP Lit class, you idiots.
With all new Star Wars, I genuinely think people go in expecting to dislike it and just not wanting to like things. John Osborne writes regarding the child actor snarky, just like Carrie Fisher. The way in which she embodies the character. Again, if you guys haven't watched it, it is a small Princess Leia. It's crazy. It's a good show. It's a great show. I don't understand. I understand some of the critiques. Most of them, I'm just like, like one of the biggest critiques I've seen is like, oh, we didn't need the show because we know where he ends up at the start of episode 4. And it's like, the only way that is impacting your viewing of the show is if you came in thinking this. If you came in thinking you don't need the show. Like if you just went in being like, oh, I'm excited to see an Obi-Wan story. The story they're telling is great.
Yeah. And also, like, art is not about what you need, right? Like, art is not a thing about, like, art is not food. Like, it's not something you need to eat every day. You don't need to you don't need to watch a show every day. You don't need to read a book every day. You don't need to write every day. But you should do some of those things because it's good for you. It's good to expand your mind in a certain way like that. That's why art exists, to do stuff like that. And for a billion other reasons. This is not an art podcast, but
it could be. Maybe next week. Look, we have a whole off season yet to get through.
We'll talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi and your grateful hoodie.
Grateful hoodie, yeah. You're gonna have Disney stories next week. We're gonna have a great show next week. But I think that wraps it up for this week. We'll have episode 4 of Obi-Wan. Man, I need to think of a segment name, some Bills pun for Obi-Wan talk. And by the time I come up with one, it's going to be the season finale, and it's going to be useless.
That's okay.
Wait, I pitched this as a segment last week, and now people are doing it. EJ Manuel as Darth Vader and Josh Allen as Obi-Wan. Are those the most apt comparisons?
No.
I think Josh Allen, he's got to be Luke, right?
Actually, yeah. Actual literal farm boy turned into superhero. I
could just as compellingly make an argument that Stefan Diggs is Han Solo as I could that he's Princess Leia. I could make both the argument. I could make either argument. Stefan Diggs is the eye candy of the team. Easy.
That's fair, dog.
I think that does that wrap it up?
I'm good.
Okay.
I gotta pack. I gotta wake up.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the Cover One YouTube channel here on the Cover One YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to the Cover One podcast feeds on iTunes. Make sure to leave a 5-star review if you feel so inclined. Consider subscribing to the Cover One Premium. There you will have access to the Cover One Premium Slack. Sorry, Mackenzie is R2D2. Had to give that one because that is yep. Gabe Davis is C3PO and Isaiah McKenzie is R2D2. Yes, lock those two in. And then Cover One Premium Slack. You will be able to talk with all of your favorite Cover One personalities about a litany of topics. That's always great over there. And you will also have access to Cover One Premium articles on the website. Eric is producing some great content over there in recent weeks. Make sure to follow Cover One on social media accounts. It's just at some variation of Cover One on all social media accounts, even TikTok. Make sure to follow David on Twitter at
DFAUXY. I actually got quite a few followers over the weekend from my extremely low effort Ryan Fitzpatrick tweet, which was Ryan Fitzpatrick has played for every AFC East team except the Patriots, and he's beaten the Patriots in each of those stops.
You love to see it. You love to see it. John, starting and ending the show with digs on my hoodie.
Wow. Brutal.
What is wrong with the hoodie? It's a good
There's nothing wrong with the hoodie. Kyle, you do you. You do you.
It was a good free hoodie. I mean, what am I supposed to do?
Shout out Kyle's sister. Shout out Kyle's sister for getting him the hoodie.
Appreciate it. Foxy. How didn't you do that one, David?
Because that was my nickname in high school.
Hey.
The Spanish Foxy was my nickname, and the Spanish teacher was convinced by one of my best friends to call me Senor Foxy, which she absolutely did.
That's a great Senor Foxy. There we go. Fick note.
There we go.
And we have to go out on that. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.